Welcome back everybody to the Joe's One Show. I'm your host Joe's One for today's videos. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about the big, massive NHL news today as, of course, the massive Erik Karlsson trade a lot of people have been waiting for has finally happened today as he has now been traded from the San Jose Sharks to the Pittsburgh Penguins in a blockbuster deal, of course, including the Montreal Canadiens as well. So let's get into it here, of course. We know this has been in the works for a while here now. Before the draft and during the draft, we were hearing this. And July 1st really looked like it was going to happen there on the first day of free agency. It took a little bit longer. It took about a month and 6 days to get here, but we are here. And it has finally happened as he is now a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But, of course, this really did pick up a lot of steam this last weekend here as the Penguins had a second buyout window this weekend due to the signing of Erik Karlsson, who is a restricted free agent, thus opening a second buyout cycle. Of course, they did not exactly use it because they didn't buy anyone out, but they didn't use it to help make a trade. So pretty much here now, the massive blockbuster trade has happened. Formulated very quickly this morning. Last night the rumblings were expect a lot of work on it tomorrow. It really started last night. And then this morning, it really was just blasting out pretty much. And then 10 minutes before the Pens announced it, we knew that he was traded and Montreal was the third team, but we didn't know the haul. Of course, 10 minutes later we did. And yeah, let's get into it here because this is a massive NHL trade. I think this is probably the biggest one I've seen in a while. I know, Penguins-wise, this has to be the biggest one we've had since the Phil Kessel trade in 2016, bringing him into Pittsburgh here. But let's look at the trade here. So, first off here for Pittsburgh, they receive, obviously, of course, Erik Karlsson, a defenseman. They also add here Rem Pitlick. I think that's how you say his name. He's a new guy, so it's going to take me a little bit to get this guy's name. But he is from Montreal, bottom six forward. Dylan Ham Aluk. Another guy, a new guy. I'm going to learn how to pronounce his name soon, but I'm just going to try to get it here. From San Jose, and a 2026 third round pick via San Jose. What San Jose requires is they get the Penguins 2024 first round pick, Mikael Granlund, of course, the forward from Pittsburgh, Jan Ruda, a defenseman from Pittsburgh as well, and Mike Hoffman, a forward via the Montreal Canadiens. And what Montreal requires here is a 2025 second round pick via Pittsburgh. Jeff Petrie is heading back to Montreal here, it looks like, and Casey DeSmith and Nathan Legare will join them. Of course, DeSmith, the Penguins' backup goaltender for the last couple of years, and Legare, a former top prospect for the Penguins. Now it's more of a middle prospect within the last few years. But first off, here for Montreal, I think they end up with this trade pretty well. I definitely think I like a lot what they got. They actually got a good haul in this year, I think. Second round pick, it's nice to have for a young team. You definitely can get a nice young prospect with that second round pick. Of course, it's not this year's, but next year's, but still, definitely can help you out. Jeff Petrie, I think, is a great addition. Of course, him coming back to the Canadiens is nice as he was a big piece for the Canadiens. But what also is, too, is with him being an older defenseman, he can definitely help out a lot of the young guys because Montreal is a very young team and have a lot of young players on both the forward and the defensive front. I think this is a guy who can really help out and mentor them well. And I really like this for Montreal because this, of course, really will help out the youth movement just developing and having a guy who's seen it all, knows what he can do, and help these young guys out as they try to, of course, achieve their goals of being NHL players and getting the team back to a Stanley Cup contending team. Casey DeSmith, I like it for them just because, of course, now for Carey Price situation we've had the last 2-3 years now, I think. Of course, Jake Allen has been the main goaltender. They definitely need a backup, and I think DeSmith will be a solid backup for the caliber team that they are at this point. I like it for them. I think it'll work well. And Nathan Legare, I think, is great for them because they are getting a young player, and they have a lot of great young players. You add to that, now, what do I think he turns into? I think it's a bottom six, probably more of a fourth-line guy. But if you can get a solid third or fourth-line guy in the NHL this day and age, you take it, and I think that's definitely going to be good for Montreal on that front. San Jose here, of course, acquired the first-round pick from the Penguins for this year in 2024. However, what I think happens here is with this pick, now Erik Karlsson being on the Penguins, it's probably going to be a pick either in the 20s or I would bet 20s. I don't want to really say 30s because that's 31 to 32 because of your Stanley Cup teams, but obviously that is a definite chance of happening there. I will say that. But I think it's going to be a pick in the 20s because I think the Penguins are now a playoff contender once again because they're back in contention with this move, I feel like. So that's going to be... You still get a good young playoff one, but you're not going to get like a top pick or anything. So, and of course, I think they were definitely hoping for a top pick from Karlsson. But you really just can't get that with the talent that, of course, is there. We also acquired Mikael Granlund, a forward from Pittsburgh, who was a big trade line acquisition this past season, who really played awful. However, he was, I think more of a big slump. Actually, he was a very good player the last couple of years for Nashville. He was having an off year and just had a really off stretch of the Pens. This is a good or a bad move. I think Granlund could be a nice trade piece come trade deadline time if he gets back to form. If he doesn't, he's a $6 million walk on your salary cap. So it's a gamble, but it'll be interesting to see how he does play out in San Jose. If he does well, then Mike Gill and all the other guys, of course, are going to get a nice return for him when it comes to trade deadline time. If not, you got $6 million stuck on the cap of this guy. Johan Rutta as well, defenseman from Pittsburgh. I think it could work well. I think he's a good third-line defenseman. I think he'll work well for that. He's nothing more than a third-pair defenseman. I don't think he's anything special. But he does play good defense. And for you, definitely I think can also fetch something come trade deadline time. Probably like a 5th or 6th round pick. But he probably will get you at least a draft pick. So definitely can be auctioned off again. Or if they actually want to try to compete, which I don't think they will, but he could be a decent third line type of guy for you. But of course, from Montreal, they acquired forward Mike Hoffman, who's known as Erik Karlsson's enemy. They're both really good teammates in Ottawa. There's some whole beef there I'm not going to get into because it's a screwed up stuff. More on Hoffman's side, not Karlsson's, but definitely they don't like each other. But I think honestly for San Jose, he's a good pickup. Once again, another trade chip come trade deadline time. You can pass off. But also for the young guys, I don't know how many there really are. Young ones, they're actually all going to be future pieces for that San Jose course. They have just started their rebuild, of course. But I think he can definitely help out because he has had massive success. Well, not massive, but he's had good success in the NHL and has been all over the place pretty much. And he's got to play for a lot of good teams, specifically one that actually Erik Karlsson was on. In the 2017 Ottawa Senators, he was on those teams that are pretty good Ottawa-wise. So he has been around a lot, and I think he can help out with the young guys and be a trade chip come playoff time. And of course, the whole help the young guys, Mikael Granlund as well can do that as well. I feel like, but he seems more of a trade chip to me in my mind for the future if he succeeds. On the Pittsburgh side here, Pittsburgh acquires, of course, Erik Karlsson. We'll talk about him last because he's the big thing. Rem Pitlick, I really like this pickup. Of course, he comes from Montreal here, but he was a very underrated bottom 6 guy last year for the Canadians. He worked very well, and he was actually a pretty good player. I think he's a sneaky acquisition in this trade. I think he could definitely be a big help to the Pens' bottom 6, because that is where the main area of struggle was last year. I think they definitely have done good work on it in the offseason, and this, again, here from Pitlock, does help us. He does have some very solid stats. Of course, coming over from Montreal here. But as well, Dylan Hamaluk, I think that's how you say his name. I don't know much about him, but from my understanding, I have heard he is a decent bottom 6 guy. He is someone they can probably plug in here and help out as well. I don't know how much of an effect he will really have on the team here, just due to the fact that I don't know much about him here. But I have heard from other people that he is a good pickup for the most part, and people do feel like he will help out. I wish I could say more about him, but I just don't really know much about him because there's just not much in the San Jose farm system right now. And from my understanding, that's where he comes from. So I just really don't know that much about them right now, just due to the fact that it's pretty depleted. And it's getting rebuilt right now, obviously. It's started getting back better, of course, in the last deal. But I don't know the most about San Jose a lot. I know all about the star players. I got that all down. Some of these, other guys here, I've just, I'm not. I've heard of him, but like I don't know that much about him. But from my understanding, from what I've heard, he does do very well, and I'm just to see how he does fit into the Penguin system here. But of course, the big trade piece here, Erik Karlsson, the Norris winning defenseman for this year. He is now a Pittsburgh Penguin, and let's get into it here, as there's a lot to talk about. He is easily right now, off this season, has been the best offensive defenseman in the league. He's scored a lot of goals. Actually, in his past season, he scored 25 goals, which is pretty much that's around the same as what Cale McCarr has been doing. 76 assists, 101 points overall in this last season here for Erik Karlsson. And the thing I will say is here, he is insanely talented as a player. He played all 82 games this year too, so he's been very healthy. And that is where the big thing comes in, is the health of Erik Karlsson. As he has had some injury issues in the past. I know definitely when he got traded to San Jose, they were really bad. And pretty much it did take a big hit to his career in those seasons. However, of course, last year he was healthy and he bounced back to his old form. And actually, honestly, I think he actually had a better year than some of his other Norris winning years, if I'm not mistaken, when he was in Ottawa. So let me look here. I think, he actually had better years than his Norris winning years when he was in Ottawa, because he is a 3-time Norris winner. I think it was 14 and 16 is when he won it. 2014 and 16 when he won the Norris. And of course, this year, 2023, won it. So he's the winning guy. And what he brings to this team is offense. He is an offensive playmaker. He not only will he score goals for you, with some defensive dealing missed in blue line scoring within the last couple of years, but he also sets up plays. He is a great playmaker. I think he definitely, especially power play wise, is going to be a massive help. And I think the nice thing here for the Pens too is like guys like Letang now, he's not going to have as much of a burden on him defensively because he's got another spectacular defenseman, Erik Karlsson. And I think this really helps. I think scoring is going to get a lot better for the Pens, just because this guy can actually go out there and he can score your goals, especially from the blue line, which it's very hard to find guys who can do that for you. But when you can get a guy like him, you have to get him. And I think this really helps the Penguins. I think it really does improve their position at this point. I think right now, from the end of this season to right now in the offseason, the Pens have significantly improved. I think a team of Erik Karlsson on it is significantly better than a team without Erik Karlsson. I think defensively, the Penguins are a lot better, and they got a young talent, POJ, of course, who's played this year and did very well, and of course Ty Smith as well. Hopefully going to be up this year and get to play, along with Marcus Patterson, newly acquired Ryan Graves from the Devils. Of course, the big free agent signing for the Pens. And Chris Letang here, this is definitely a defensive core that has been very much rebuilt, and I think I'm actually very excited to see, because that has been one of the uses I've had of the Pens ever since 2017 after the second cup win is the defense needs big help. And this really does help, but I have been like pretty much yelling for a good defenseman for a long time. I know definitely most recently before Karlsson, we were talking about Chikrin. Of course, we were all hoping he'd be the big trade deadline acquisition for the Penguins. Of course, did not happen as he went to actually Erik Karlsson's former team in Ottawa. But definitely, this is a lot better than Chikrin. Like, this is when we talk about big moves, this is this is a future Hall of Famer type of guy. Like, I understand, of course, he is 33, but if you get a guy that plays like this and he is still playing like this, like, you have to definitely get that. If you can actually get it, it is definitely spectacular to have. I think, of course, Erik Karlsson is one of the best defensemen out there in the game. You really just can't deny that. Now, the one issue that is there, other than the injuries, is he's not the best defensive defenseman. He is more offensive-minded, which I think is fine, honestly, because the Penguins have a lot of guys who are defensive mentalities for the team here already, with Graves and POJ. And, of course, Letang is normally an offensive one, too. But now I feel like he's going to be because he's had to do so much of offenses due to the lack of it in the last few years, of course. So now he can finally do more of defense than just offense work, because he's been pretty much having to fill a whole role of offensive defenseman for the team. Now, if Karlsson here, he doesn't have to do that, so it's going to help him a lot, Letang, if now just being able to do just more just defense, not have to worry about having to score from the blue line all the time. But yeah, overall, I think this is a spectacular trade for the Penguins. So let's give out some grades here on how I feel like all three teams have done in this trade here. So, first off here, Montreal, I'm going to give them a solid B. I like what they did. Being a third team coming in just to help out with salary issues, I think that does help out a lot. And I think for what you did, that third team helping with salary issues that come up with this trade, I think they did very well. I like Petrie a lot for them. I think that does help them out with the young guys. I think that's very good. I think DeSmith is a good one because they definitely need some goaltending help. I think he does actually give you that. And another young guy, Nathan Legale, definitely helps you out to that point. So I think Montreal, I'm going to give them a solid B. I think they did a good job of this. Now, San Jose. I like the first round pick. You definitely should have got a first round pick. Granlund or Petrie are probably bound to happen. You'd have to get one of them to trade Karlsson off. But the thing I want to say here is, with that, it's a very sketchy idea of Mikael Granlund. If he gets back to form, then you got an easy, nice trade chip. You can, of course, trade off, which is obviously what they want to happen. But if it doesn't work out, this is a $6 million. It's $5 million. My mistake. $5 million. Pretty much salary walk that you can't really get rid of because no one's gonna really want him, in my mind. So it's a very risky move on that part to acquire him. So we'll see how that does play out, but it could be a very boom or a bust type of thing in my mind here. Jan Ruda, I think definitely decent pickup, not bad, but nothing special. Mike Hoffman, same thing, okay pick. I don't have any problems with it. I'm not mad about it, but I think here, honestly, what you lose compared to what you get back in return, there was a definite difference, and I think it's significantly less. Because pretty much, the way I think you should value these guys here is, you have the Norris winner right here, pretty much, and this is like what you got back in return. So pretty much you went from this here on Erik Karlsson to a lot of this kind of picks here. It's not really the best. And I think you should have got a lot more for Karlsson. I know they completely lost the leverage with the no trade clause and them waiting so long. They pretty much lost it, and I think the GM definitely needed to trade Karlsson sooner than he did. He completely lost leverage here. Like, if he wouldn't have lost leverage, he would have been able to get a guy like Pettersson or Ty Smith or POJ, which would have been actually a big help to him on the young core, yet he was not able to, due to an unwillingness to trade when he should have. I think if he would have traded on July 1st, I think things would have been a lot better, but they did decide to wait off, and I think that did hurt them a lot, and I'm going to give them here a C, because I think they should have got a lot more than what they did for Erik Karlsson. And with the Pittsburgh Penguins, what they acquired in this trade and what they had to give up for this trade is astonishing, because they should have had to give up a lot more. When I mean like a lot, I do mean a lot more. They should have had to give up one of their younger guys. They did not. I'm amazed Owen Pickering didn't have to be part of the deal. I'm amazed POJ didn't. I'm amazed Ty Smith. A lot of these young guys, they were able to keep them. And this is the kind of thing, and they also were able to add bottom six help. And I think overall this is a great one for the Penguins, and I'm going to give them an A+ on this, because not only do they get the Norris winning defenseman here on Erik Karlsson, they also got some decent bottom six pieces that can help them out in an area where they struggled very much last year. But not only that, is they got rid of the stains of Ron Hextall, of course, two of his big moves, which are two completely horrific disasters here, in Jeff Petrie and Mikael Granlund, are both gone in the foul swoop. So now pretty much the only thing left of Hextall's that's still on the team is Jeff Carter, who they really can't do anything with just because the contract that Hextall signed him to. But I think he is definitely, Kyle Dubas has cleaned up a lot of the mess that Ron Hextall had caused. And I think the Penguins are finally back on track to where they do need to be. And that's why I'm going to give the Penguins here an A+. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys are listening in on Apple Podcast or Spotify or any other place I have my podcast, thank you guys for listening in and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one.